I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary. Me, the most beautiful word, and I've said this for the last couple of weeks, is the word tariff.
Imagine a world with no income taxes. I mean, that sounds amazing, right? No more IRS, no more tax season, just a simple tax on all foreign goods. It's a win-win for America. But what if that dream comes with a hidden price tag? President Donald Trump calls tariffs the most beautiful word, proposing to replace income taxes with a universal 10% tariff on all imported goods, and up to a 60 to even 100% tariff on any Chinese imported good. But here's the catch. While this plan promises to tax foreign products instead of your paycheck, the reality might hit a little closer to home. Wide-sweeping tariffs like Trump is proposing could lead to an increase in the price of items that everyday Americans use inside of their economy. Because if history has taught us anything, it's this. When the government says that they're here to help you, the reality probably is the exact opposite. In fact, when Trump says he's going to cut taxes, I don't know if that's ever been done in the history of America, at least permanently. There's just been taxes on top of taxes. And Trump's plan, it could be one of the biggest hidden taxes in history. So in today's video, we're going to be exposing how Trump's tariffs could secretly drain your wallet, why his plan to replace income taxes is mathematically impossible, and what you need to do right now to protect your money. If you've ever wondered how to pay less in taxes legally, build real wealth, and escape the system that's designed to keep you broke, stick around because we're going to be breaking it all down in this video today. First off, my name is Ryan Dealey, and I want to welcome you to the Wealth Outside of Wall Street YouTube channel, where we help you break free from the financial system, take control over your money, and ultimately achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less using the passive income machine investment strategy. If you're tired of getting robbed, nickeled and dimed to death by taxes, inflation, and the financial system, all designed to keep you in economic poverty, then my friends, you're in the right place. So let's dive into part one of this video and explore the harsh truth about taxes. I remember when I was growing up, my dad used to say, "Son, there's only two things certain in this world, death and taxes." As a teenager, I used to roll my eyes, but once I started making money, I realized that dude might just be right. Because as I made money, I owed taxes. When I started to spend money, I owed even more taxes. If I ever decided to invest my money and made a profit, well, guess what, my friends? I have more taxes. And as I get closer and closer and eventually pass away, the government's gonna try to reach into my wallet and take even more taxes. The American tax system is literally a tax upon tax upon tax system. You pay taxes on dollars that you've already paid taxes on. It is insane when you really start to look below the surface. Now, taxes have been around probably since the beginning of time. I think it was Adam and Eve and then the federal government. But the American tax system, it started as a temporary tax in 1913. But guess what? Once the government got its hands on easy money, it never let go. And today, American patriotic economists have tried to add up the total amount of time Americans work just to pay their taxes. It's called Tax Freedom Day. It's the day when Americans have earned enough money to cover their total tax burden for the year. And for most people, that day comes somewhere in April, May, and sometimes even as late as June. What that means is the average American today is working 40 to 50% of their entire life for the government just to pay taxes. And when you pair this concept of working half of your life to pay taxes with the reckless government spending, knowing that even with all these taxes, the government still runs a deficit, you realize that the game, the financial game, it's rigged against you. And if you don't wise up, you might end up working half of your life just to pay taxes and never actually get ahead. I want that to hopefully sink in for you. So when a politician, even Trump, who I'm excited to see what he actually does as the American president, when he says we're going to eliminate taxes, I think we all start paying attention because we all know inherently we pay way too much taxes. But the question is, will Trump's tariff plan actually save you money, or is it just another tax yet again in another disguise? So to break that down, let's discuss how tariffs actually work. So to understand what Trump is proposing, we need to break down what tariffs actually are and how they work. A tariff is just another word for another tax, but instead of taxing your paycheck directly, it's a tax on all imported goods. Let's say that the US imposes a 20% tariff on Australian wine. Now, from an American standpoint, that might sound great. Let's charge the Australians, not the Americans. But if an importer buys $1 million worth of wine from Australia, they now owe $200,000 in tariffs to the US government. But an importer isn't just going to stomach that cost. That cost is going to get passed down the supply chain. eventually you, the consumer, will pay more at the store for that same bottle of Australian wine. So when Trump says we're going to tax imports instead of income, he's not eliminating taxes. He's just shifting where you're paying them. Instead of the government taking your money through income tax, they'll now start taking it through higher prices on everything you buy. Either way, you're still paying a tax. So now the big question is, can tariffs actually replace income taxes? So on this, we're gonna do some math because it's really interesting when we break it down. Trump's claim is that if we tax imports heavily enough, we could eliminate income taxes altogether. And at first glance, this sounds like a brilliant move. Make foreign companies pay instead of taxing Americans. But let's look at the numbers to really understand what Trump is saying. Last year, the US government collected $2.2 trillion in income taxes. Tariffs, by comparison, brought in $80 billion. That's a 22x gap. So in order to replace income taxes with tariffs, we need to have a 71% tax on all imports. That means a 71% increase on all consumer goods across the board. So I want you to ask yourself this: can you afford to pay 71% more at the grocery store? 71% more when you buy cell phones, when you buy vehicles, when you buy clothing, or any other form of household goods that you use? Obviously, many Americans are just getting by as it is, and they could not even begin to stomach a 71% price increase across the board. And that's assuming that imports stay the same, which they unequivocally won't. Because if the cost of imports skyrockets, Americans will simply stop buying as much. And less buying equals less revenue from tariffs, and the whole plan collapses overnight. And guess what happens then? Well, they'll keep your tariffs and they'll continue to tax your income. That's the problem with taxes, is they just add taxes upon taxes upon taxes upon taxes. Because let's be real, the government never gives up a source of revenue once they've got it. Now, before I move on from this, I'm super excited about the creative thinking. I think that's exactly what we need to solve the taxation problem, is we need creative thinking to solve the government's problems. But on the flip side of this, we have to also realize and understand that the government has to be responsible with the money they're taking in. We cannot continue to pay taxes and not see any real benefit inside of our life. That has to change. There has to be real accountability. And I think Trump is stepping into the world of figuring out how to bring accountability to government spending, which I'm all for. So Trump, keep thinking creatively. But before we throw up the white flag and say, hey, Trump, solve all of our problems, I want you guys to be financially empowered to understand what's going on so you can make moves to actually generate revenue and profit from all of the chaos that's going to ripple from the tariff conversation. Because the real impact of hidden taxes is higher prices. Even if tariffs don't replace income taxes, they still come with massive consequences. Prices will go up, potentially a lot. A 10% tariff means you pay 10% more on imported goods. Walmart, Home Depot, AutoZone, they've all warned that tariffs will drive up costs for American consumers. And tariffs are a form of what's called regressive tax. They hurt the poor the most. The bottom 50% of Americans pay just 2% of income taxes today. But everyone across the board buys groceries, gas, and basic goods. So tariffs will hit low-income Americans the hardest. So here's the bottom line. Tariffs aren't a magic solution to get rid of taxes. They're just another way for the government to indirectly extract more money directly from your wallet. Which means if you want to start building real wealth, you need a strategy that protects you from all forms of taxation, direct and hidden. This is why we teach a concept to those who are willing to learn called the passive income machine investment system. This investment strategy is based 100% on the tax code. In fact, it uses the tax code just like billionaires and millionaires use, like Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett. They leverage the tax code every single day to literally create tax-free income. Because if there's one thing I've learned about the wealthy don't just get wealthy from investing. The wealthy, more than anything, get wealthy by understanding the tax code. Taxes are the greatest destroyer of wealth. The average American works until April, May, and sometimes even June just to pay their taxes. I want you to imagine what your personal economy would look like if you got all of that time back. If you spent more time working for your money and made sure that your money was working in a way where a third of it doesn't automatically go to taxes. You, my friends, would be 30 to 50% closer to financial freedom if you just figured out the tax game. So in order to help you understand this concept of taxes, I've created a webinar. It's 5 steps to save 5 figures in taxes no matter who you are. anyone can do it. It's a simple matter of opening up the tax playbook and understanding how the tax code is written and aligning your finances to the tax code. My friends, I want you to consider this. The IRS, they actually use the tax code as a way to incentivize behavior. Most people are afraid of the tax code, but there is quite literally thousands of pages inside of that code that tells you how to not pay taxes when you invest in certain ways. This is how we've built the passive income machine. It is completely aligned with the most foundational tax strategies at the core of our American economy. So if you want to learn more about how you can save 5 figures of taxes or more, no matter who you are, then I want you to comment taxes below. I'll send you a link and you can watch the webinar and take that information and start saving your money, because at the end of the day, that's what this channel is all about. It's about empowering you with your money to break free from the chains, to become financially free, and to use money as a tool to build and live a life that matters to you. Not one day, but right now. So if you're tired of getting wrecked by taxes, inflation, and government endless schemes, it's time to take control. Comment taxes below, and if you haven't done so yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Subscribe to the channel, give me a like, and stay tuned, because I'll see you on the next video.